All right, let's not go and waste any more time because we have a lot to get into. Let me get everybody unmuted here. Unmute Barry, unmute Greg.
Hello.
Everybody.
Hello.
How's it going? Welcome to the stream. We have a lot to talk about this evening. If you're watching on YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff, as usual, say hello in the chat as we dive into D23 Expo. Happened over the last,
3 days?
4 days?
3 days.
Although,
3 days.
probably to Greg, because he was there. By the way, joining us is our good friend Greg, who runs Park Journey over there in California. He was actually at D23, kind of multitasking.
Very much so.
Greg was nice enough to pick up our slack of not being able to be there to cover D23, and him and his wife were kind of doing the duo and covering.
Sure, yeah, it was. Yeah, we were both doing. We were both doing it. Sure,
doing the dance. So I figured I'd have him on tonight since he was there. He was in the parks panel, so he could give us a different perspective on things that were announced during the I just call it the parks panel. What is it? The
Parks and experiences.
Products and experiences.
Yeah.
And
They
I just call it the parks panel.
They really didn't unlike what the last one, there wasn't much consumer product discussed in this one. It was straight up parks.
Oh, look who's in the chat. He said, I love the bald guy, by the way. Greg is the best.
Thanks, Gabe.
That's his name, Gabe. I couldn't think. Yeah, his name's Gabe. Cool. Hey, Gabe, how's it going, man? Thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. So, yeah, we're going to spend the first... Let me turn off the music here. Mute that. I figured we spend the first 15 or so minutes talking about all the movies and TV shows and all that stuff, and then diving right into all the theme park stuff that happened at D23. So let me bring up articles so we can... Because there was a lot talked about. I don't think there was a lot that was announced as far as movies and TV show. It was a lot of rehashing and that sort of thing. We did get some new trailers, which we'll talk about. So we'll just kind of go through here. Obviously, starting off with Disney live action. Greg, you said you have not seen Pinocchio yet. Barry, have you watched it?
I have zero interest. Everybody I've heard who's seen it just calls it's like a hot mess.
Yeah. You know, I was talking with Greg before we went live here, kind of in the pre-show room, and you know, we watched it with the kids. You know, because kids, Pinocchio, sure. So I sat through and I watched it, and I kind of had the same outtake or end result with all of these live action movies, with the exception of Jungle Book. Jungle Book. Yeah. I really enjoyed Jungle Book, but pretty much all of the other live action remake Disney movies.
I thought Cinderella was actually halfway decent.
Yeah, I forgot about Cinderella.
Because it was like the first. Wasn't it like the first one, I think, or the second one?
Yeah, it was early on. Yeah, that was one of the first ones.
Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. I could care about ever watching them ever again.
I mean, Aladdin. Somebody mentioned Cruella, but I don't really consider that a live action remake.
No,
that was brilliant.
No, that's its own thing. It was actually very
really
good.
Yeah.
I really liked Cruella.
And I have actually watched Aladdin a few times. I actually do. There's a lot about that movie I do like. Aladdin. There's some things that work really well, and there's some that were just okay. But it's definitely more rewatchable than some of the other ones.
But yeah, we watched it with the kids, and you know, it was another one of those ones where it was a thing, and you know, it didn't do anything for me, which is what a lot of these live action Disney remakes have done.
And I forgot the original Disney Plus one, The Lady and the Tramp, was actually good.
Yeah, Lady and the Tramp. You know, my wife, you know, that's our movie, Lady and the Tramp. So we were big on that one, and yeah, that one was good too. There are a good few ones in there, but for the most part, these live action movies are, hit or miss, so to speak.
I will say though, now that we're getting into these, we got the trailer for the teaser for The Little Mermaid.
Yeah,
and I'm actually excited. just on the teaser alone, this actually so far looks pretty good.
Yeah, I was watching some videos of some like kids reacting to seeing Little Mermaid that looks like them.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty amazing, and it was kind of awesome to see like their reaction when they realized that there's a Disney princess now, another Disney princess that resembles them, and it was really great, I thought.
No, I mean we've talked on this podcast on this show before, and the podcast just how important, like Miss Marvel that came out this summer, people or young girls, boys being able to see themselves up on on the TV or on the movie screen. It's like, to me it's that's stuff. I've many friends who with kids and who are are either Mexican or mixed race or different, and it just to see it through their eyes, that's where it gets me. And I mean, she is a made up character. Yes,
she's a fictional mermaid.
She's a fictional mermaid. So it's like, as usual, there's a blowback with everything, as we've seen with this, as we are seeing with the Lord of the Rings show on Amazon. It's just like, this is all fantasy.
Right.
It doesn't matter what the color of their skin is. It's all fantasy. And so far, based on the brief little teaser we got, this is actually, I'm excited. Of course,
no, I'm actually excited for it too. Yeah, this one looks great.
And
and then some of the other stuff that we got was we got the teaser trailer for Disenchanted, which always looks fun. I loved Enchanted. This one looks like it'll be right up there with the. I'm so glad they got pretty much all of the original.
Everybody back. Yeah, I mean, we've been waiting a long time for the sequel. It's been talked about for years.
Yeah.
And based on the trailer, I love the idea that she wishes for this fairy tale, world life. Well, she's the stepmother.
Yeah.
So she's based on what we saw in the trailer, she starts to become an evil stepmother.
Yep.
And I just love that idea that taking Giselle and having her basically the good and bad parts of her sort of battle. I'm excited for this, and it definitely looks very, very good just based on the trailer.
And it comes out November 24th on Disney Plus. We also got a new trailer for Hocus Pocus 2. We got a little bit more to see about that.
I have never seen the first Hocus Pocus.
Hocus Pocus is a very, like, I have a love-hate relationship with that movie. Like, there's days when I will sit down and watch it, like during the Halloween season when it's on, and then it's on again like a week later or like next year. I have a weird relationship with Hocus Pocus. It's so bizarre. Like, I can't explain it.
I feel like as the years have gone by, like I've liked it more than like when it originally came. It did okay when people seem to forget. It did good. It did okay when it came out, but it's the year, much like Nightmare Before Christmas. Years and years have gone by, and it was shown on a lot of different cable all the time, and it's just become now this big Halloween thing.
Yep.
And it spawned, like we were just at Not So Scary last night. Hocus Villain Spectacular is one of the best Disney stage shows. It's an amazing show, and based on the this basically the final trailer for Hocus Pocus 2. I actually liked the story beats that they showed in this trailer. This actually looks like it's going to be very funny and a nice chance to come back to these characters again.
I'm excited for it. Like I said, I have a weird love-hate relationship with the original Hocus Pocus. I think I kind of agree with you, Barry. It's kind of I had no interest in Hocus Pocus when I was younger, but it has grown on me a little bit over the recent years. So
maybe I'll do like a live stream reaction and watch both of them when they come out. And
there you go. That's a good idea. Yeah. Haunted Mansion. We got a little tidbit of news with Haunted Mansion. Jamie Lee Curtis is going to be voicing Madame Leota. So we got that announcement, which is interesting. I am so leery about this movie. Barry and I, Haunted Mansion fans.
Right. No, I get it.
So it's like, can we like?
But I mean, it's Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
So
it is her.
yeah, and I actually have a funny Haunted Mansion Jamie Lee Curtis story. We were at Disneyland once in the the stretching room, and all of a sudden Jamie Lee Curtis is in the stretching room with us, and the doors open and it's very dark, and she screams out, "Follow the bald guy to the dune buggies," and like talking about me, like
Oh
so.
my god, that's amazing.
It was like, yeah, it was actually like really. So I'm actually pretty excited. I'm a huge Jamie Lee Curtis fan. Halloween is my favorite Halloween movie. So
yeah,
I'm actually I'm cautiously optimistic that it's going to be good.
I would put it that way too. I'm going to give it a chance, but
I mean, my issue is horror comedy is so hard to do, as we've seen with there's been 4 Ghostbusters movie. I would say the original and then the recent one were the only 2 ones that were halfway decent. I mean, it's so easy to fall flat on your face with horror comedy, and I don't know why. I realize they think mainstream, probably people think Haunted Mansion, no, it's sort of funny and spooky, and that's what the type of movie they want. And it's like, no, that's not the type of movie we want.
Yeah.
I will say this, though. A lot of the actors, minus Jared Leto, are all very good actors in this movie.
There is a pretty good cast lineup for it. That's one thing that has me remaining optimistic about it.
Fingers crossed that they can find the right tone for this film. I mean, we saw with Muppets Haunted Mansion, you can do something funny with the Haunted Mansion.
Yeah.
And I just want, if it's at least better than the Eddie Murphy one, then
I mean, that's
yay.
That's a low bar.
It's a very low bar,
low.
but if it fails, maybe they'll finally realize, stop trying to do a comedy Haunted Mansion film.
So all right, we got to keep moving on here. Haunted Mansion we talked about. We got an announcement from Mufasa the Lion King, a prequel to the Lion King CG movie, which I think we mentioned that we really don't care about. So we'll keep moving on from that.
Who cares? Seriously.
I can't remember. The Snow White movie, was this new news about Gal playing the Queen? Was that already announced, or was that?
I don't remember.
I can't remember if that was.
We've now.
Or it was something that was already announced, and they just, again, a lot of this stuff is just kind of rehashed announcements. So over at Pixar, they talked a little bit more about Elemental, which looks really cute. Everybody always talks about Pixar movies, if cars had emotions, and this one's like if elements, water, fire, had emotions. So I'll be curious to see where they go with this. Let's see here.
The TV series that they have.
Yeah, the Win or Lose. That is a first for Pixar. A TV series, right?
Yeah, an original TV series.
And
the concept for this looks incredibly amazing because it's going to be from different characters' point of view on this softball team, and they're going to use different styles.
Yep.
So what if a softball team had emotions?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But isn't that the one that's going to be directed by Michael Giacchino, or is that the werewolf one?
That's the werewolf.
That's the werewolf one.
Win or Lose is going to be directed by Carrie Hobson.
Okay.
And Michael Yates.
Okay.
So there's that. We got a first look at the what was the movie about the kid he's going to.
It's right there on the screen.
Elio.
Yeah, Elio. That sounds really cool. I guess it's about a kid that becomes like a or not like a spokesperson, but I guess I could read the description. I have it right here in front of me. I'm trying to find where to start. It's a big description, and I don't want to sit here and read the thing.
No, I mean, I think one of the interesting things is I love, yes, we're getting Inside Out too, but I love that Pixar keeps coming up with these original ideas. And that's what we love from Pixar is the original stuff and
then getting into Walt Disney Animation Studios, they talked about Zootopia Plus more, based on Zootopia. Obviously, that'll be launching November 9th on Disney Plus. We got a first look at the Iwaju show, which is kind of interesting. It's like it's a futuristic. Where does it take place in?
Nigeria.
Nigeria, I think it is. Yeah. That looks really interesting. I'm kind of all for that. They talked about Strange World some more, and then last but not least, they announced their movie for the Disney 100th anniversary is called Wish, and it'll be a movie about the wishing star.
When I first saw this heard of this concept, I was like, but then I heard about they're going to be using like sort of a new style of anime.
2D and 3D animation.
Yeah. They have a new system that allows like computer generated animation to have sort of like a watercolor traditional animation look to it.
Yeah, it's like hand drawn. Plus, it's like it definitely seems interesting. I'm hoping it works out.
And I think Ariana DeBose is going. I'm sorry, Academy Award winner Ariana DeBose is going to voice and sing the main character, which I mean she's amazing. So
yeah, no, that sounds really cool. How about the new, because I'm a huge 2D fan, so whatever they can do to kind of bring back 2D animation, I'm all for it. In some
too, and whatever they can do to differentiate sort of the styles of Pixar and Walt Disney Animation Studios.
Yeah, exactly.
For a while there, because of Lasseter, things sort of like started to look samey, but then I appreciate what Jennifer Lee has done, where they've been trying to Pixar is this and
trying to
doing
them a little more.
Doing their own thing, and also, I mean, in both cases, both studios are starting to experiment with different looks, and that's one of the things we love about Disney Pixar is they're willing to try things, and even I will give it up. I watched the Bad Guys by DreamWorks, and that style of animation really was amazing, and it's like I want to see more of this. We know the computers can do certain things now, but it gives it like a touch, a more just real feeling to it with these new styles. And Spider-Verse really kicked it. I feel like kicked it into high gear of people are willing to accept like these different styles of animation now, and I say bring on more of it.
Yeah, a combination of different types of mediums is
Star Wars,
right? Speaking of Star Wars, let's move on over to Lucasfilm. We got. I know I got a picture of this isn't Andor, but they released a new trailer for Andor. Yep, Greg's got the poster up there on his wall behind him.
Nice.
I am super excited about this show.
Yes.
Rogue One was absolutely fantastic. So for that reason alone, I am super excited about this show.
I wonder how it's going to end, though. I wonder how.
Yeah.
I mean, it's. I'm excited that, and I'm not knocking the volume, but I'm excited we're getting out of the volume with this one. I mean, I realized it was probably used for some of the special effects scenes, but just to see some of the vistas in these trailers and just, I mean, I am all for like seeing basically that we're going to get, we've got it sort of in Star Wars Rebels, we've got it in books, but to really see it's sort of the beginning of the rebellion from on the ground in the mud. In the mud, and then also up in the higher echelons with Mon Mothma and other people who were trying to, diplomatically try to stop the Empire, and how it all comes together. I am all for that. It's
and the cast is just amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing
ridiculous. The cast is ridiculous, and I'd also love the fact that they've committed how many episodes they've committed to this show, because I think Marvel has learned, and I think Lucasfilm is learning 6 episodes for stuff is just not enough. Not enough. To tell a real more television style serialized story.
We get the first 3 episodes, season 1 premiere exclusively on Disney Plus on September 21st. So
and I think it's in the end too. It's smarter with the longer I should say more episodes to tell these stories, and and probably saves them some money if they're going to film a huge chunk of these all at once.
Yeah.
And then spread them out, their release out over 2 or 3 years.
And then I believe we got a new trailer for Willow, which I have no personal connection to. I don't know if you guys do.
It's an age thing, I think.
Yeah, I just never.
I am so excited for Willow. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I just missed it because I don't know.
I feel like it's one. Yeah, obviously it did not it did okay at the box office. But I like many films, it's been on cable so much over the years, that it's built up a following to the point. I'm impressed that they're doing this, and also, like I said, having this series will get people to watch the original.
Yeah,
it's like Sin hasn't seen the original, so we'll sit down and we'll watch the original because she's seen the trailers for the series. She's like, oh well, this looks exciting. But wants to learn how we get what happens before all this. And
I think I've seen the original like maybe once or twice, so maybe myself I need to go back and rewatch it.
And I think it's a smart move by Disney. They are sort of lacking in the fantasy area compared to to Amazon, to Netflix, to HBO. HBO's got Game of Thrones, Netflix has Lord of the Rings. I'm sorry, Amazon has Lord of the Rings, Netflix has The Witcher right now, and a couple other fantasy shows. So it's a smart move by Disney, and based on what we saw in that trailer, it looks really cool.
Hopping back over to the Star Wars universe, we got our first trailer for Star Wars: The Mandalorian Season 3, which. It's The Mandalorian. It looks fantastic. What more can we say? We're all waiting for this.
What was your initial thoughts, Greg? When obviously a lot of this teaser trailer was reused footage, but the back half wasn't.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. I was telling Clint earlier that I didn't really get a chance to look at any of this stuff because I was at D23 all weekend and I was not in this panel. So I spent some time this morning kind of going through. And I mean, it's like you said, Clint. It's The Mandalorian.
It's The Mandalorian.
It's going to be great.
It's going to be great.
The best episode of Boba Fett was the Mandalorian episode. So
Yeah. I mean, and everything that Favreau and Filoni have teased about this season, and is just, just based on what we saw, it's bigger.
Yeah,
this is not just about the two of them anymore. This is about Mandalore and just
Bo-Katan
we're getting into all of that, and basically the Mandalorians, returning to Mandalore and trying to take it back, and
I think the big thing with Mandalorian is it's really kind of expanded the Star Wars universe beyond like Star Wars fans. My wife, she'll like watch Star Wars, and she was never like a huge Star Wars person, and now she's like, I can't wait, and I can't believe the guy that played Monica's boyfriend on Friends is in charge of Star Wars. That's like. But it's like it's really kind of brought in this whole audience that maybe wasn't hardcore Star Wars fans.
Yeah.
Because look at the little baby Yoda, and that's how they get that. That's how that's how they get you, and then they hook you, and then there you go. So
and then basically what I forgot his name. Someone else is basically overseeing this season now. That Filoni's doing Ahsoka, and Favreau is basically taking more of an overall role. It was one of the other.
Is it Rick?
Yeah, it was one of who's directed some of the other episodes. Yeah, he's basically sort of show running this season, and I mean they everyone who's come out of The Mandalorian, has done a pretty good job, except for Robert Rodriguez. But
we got
we can all admit Book of Boba Fett was a little uneven.
Yeah.
But that's like most Robert Rodriguez stuff. It's a little uneven.
All right,
but
we got to keep going here.
What are we doing to Tales of the Jedi now?
Well, we got Tales of the Jedi coming. Barry, if you want to quick mention that, talk about that.
I mean, we're going to go into sort of a pre-Clone Wars Star Wars animated series and sort of see us, Ahsoka being discovered as a Jedi and some of the training she goes through with Anakin, and then we're going to see Count Dooku sort of when he, based on the trailer, makes his turn. away from the Jedi, and I think that's a nice little backstory part that had never really got handled in the main Clone Wars series, and hey, I'm all for more Ahsoka Tano. So
yeah, speaking of Ahsoka, we didn't get any. I think they just said that they were filming Ahsoka. It'll come out next year.
Yeah, they basically had what showed one very Sabine live action Sabine from behind, I think, picture. So all I gotta say is
he was there. Or no, you didn't make it to this panel. Did
No,
you?
I didn't get into this.
Yeah.
We didn't get into this panel.
Yeah, these ones were hard.
Yeah, I've told people it's like if you can't go all the way back to the Clone Wars, at least you're going to need to watch Star Wars Rebels before you watch this show, or you will not know what's going on. So,
and then they wrapped up with Harrison Ford walking out on stage for Indiana Jones. And apparently they did get the trailer, but that was just for people in the room. They didn't release the trailer.
Yeah.
And it has not leaked because I've been looking.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what they did because I could not find anything. I found snippets of other things, but I have found nothing. It's like, do they have like a machine that just scrambles everybody's cell phone?
And I will say that was my big disappointment of not being in the room because Raiders of the Lost Ark is my all-time favorite movie, and I was like, yeah.
I mean, freaking Harrison Ford was tearing up,
which does not happen.
Which does not happen. But he does smoke a lot of weed.
Did you
so
see the picture that Mark Hamill shared of I can't the actor's name, Dr. Jones.
Kid.
That's how I know him.
Ki-Hil Kwan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Him and Harrison Ford like hugging. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
So pure and just so like
So I mean, and he's having a year, just an unbelievable year. I mean, that could end up.
You don't see Harrison Ford smile
ever,
or
get emotional, or
get emotional, and the huge smile on his face was priceless.
Yeah,
nah.
So, you could tell he was happy. He's so happy for him.
Oh my
his
god,
comeback.
it was amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah, if you haven't seen Everything Everywhere All at Once, see it. It's
my favorite movie of the year so far.
It's my favorite movie of the same. It's the best movie of the year so far.
Okay, on to the good stuff.
Marvel?
Yeah, right. Let me get rid of that. Okay.
Before we get into that, I will say I was sort of disappointed. I was expecting a little bit more out of the Marvel part of the panel.
I think
the fact that Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special comes out in December and we got nothing for that, I don't understand that one at all. But we did get Secret Invasion, which that was the surprise one because I was not expecting that at all. So
yeah, it was, the Marvel segment was we got the Thunderbolts cast. We got confirmation that what's his name's going to be joining them, Winter Soldier.
Yeah,
and we got a picture.
That was probably the shocking about that one.
Yeah, that was like the biggest news that came out of the Marvel panel. I think, to be honest, was that cast reveal. Because everything else, they didn't. Everybody was expecting something from Fantastic Four,
and that's the only thing I sort of don't understand with like not showing some of these panels. Even if you just blacked out the trailer parts, it's like, I mean, how amazing would it have been able to watch seeing like for the Marvels part, seeing Brie, Iman, and I always screw up her name, but the one who plays Monica Rambeau on stage all together for the first time. I mean, it's just. I understand why they do it because it's supposed to, save it for the people there, but it's like the event's already sold out. You're not like. But
all right.
But a lot of stuff, still a lot of information came out of the panel though.
Yeah, there was a lot of information and details and stuff, but obviously we are crunched for time here, so we got to keep moving. Let's move on to the parks. But first, we're gonna really quick chat about.
First, we're gonna talk about a cruise
ship. Disney announced the name of what are they on now? The 5th, 6th?
6. This is number 6.
Disney Wish was the 5th. This will be the 6th ship. It will be called the Disney Treasure.
That's such a weird name.
Yeah, it doesn't roll off the tongue. I was kind of.
Well, they kept talking about adventure, and adventure. I was like, oh, so they're going to call it the Disney Adventure.
And in the room, when they said Disney Treasure, everyone's like, we figured it was going to be like, you could tell that like they were expecting Disney Adventure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Disney Treasure just doesn't. I don't know. Like you got Disney Wish, you got Disney Fantasy, you got Disney Dream, you got Disney Wonder, you got Disney Magic. Disney Treasure, just like I don't know.
I mean, I will say the main what do they call it, the grand hall or whatever they called the main atrium. It looks, at least the renderings look way more impressive than the Wishes one.
Yeah. This one will feature Aladdin and Jasmine because each of the ships feature like a golden statue of a certain Disney character. This one will feature Aladdin and Jasmine riding on their magic carpet. And it looks really cool, as you can see here from the screenshot of the stream. And they also talked about Josh D'Amaro, the new island that they're building,
Lighthouse Point,
which is the bottom image for those of you watching the stream.
This looks a lot more impressive than Castaway Cay.
Yeah. And they Josh D'Amaro posted, they showed a drone clip of him at the island zooming out, and I don't know. I don't know if they revealed where this is in relation to Castaway.
I don't think it's that far.
Yeah, it's got to be nearby.
They didn't even give a date, which I'm assuming, based on just like the amount of time it takes to construct something, like 2025, 2026 maybe. For this island.
Oh, for the island, yeah. I don't know. They didn't announce.
We're still I feel like a few years away from
a time frame from it. But yeah, Disney Treasure, next ship. What was really interesting was the teaser video that they played. They showed like portholes with characters. I think Coco, Moana, and they had the head-checking ghosts. And you guys probably saw my tweet, and I freaked out. I was like,
"So it's like, are we getting a haunted mansion bar? Yeah,
are these hints as to what's going to be like in the ship? I'm like, head checking ghosts. Are we going to get a haunted mansion bar? What?
Yeah, and with a name like Disney Treasure, it should have Scrooge in his vault there with all his gold coins too.
Yeah. Just a giant, just like a giant like
theme the pool to that.
There you go.
Gold coins
cool. On the bottom.
Yeah, painted all around the pool.
What are like those, like at the trampoline parks and stuff like that, those giant foam bricks that you can jump into? Like have like giant foam coins for people to jump into and all that stuff. That'd be kind of cool. So, all right, moving on to Disney World. This announcement was really interesting because
he messed it up.
Josh messed up the announcement, and because the crowd went nuts when he announced that Happily Ever After was returning, and then he got cut off I think he started just like laughing or something, and it was kind of weird to discern where this was going. Like it's going to be a new nighttime show with the Happily Ever After intro returning. It was weird.
You couldn't hear anything after what even when he introduced the people that sang the song, like you could not hear the announcement because it was so loud in the room. And
I even went back and rewatched it, and I was like, so it's returning ish. It was. Really weird.
I feel like we expected if it were to come back, it was going to be modified because it's bare minimum. They were going to add Main Street projections to it because they spent all that money for that infrastructure. I expected when it came, if it were to come back, like I said, I expected it wasn't going to be the exact same show.
No,
they were going to update things. But hey, I'm all for it. I mean, if you watch that panel, as you saw the dead silence when he mentioned Disney Enchantment. It was
think
almost. I
Greg
mean, it
can
was.
attest to that. He was in the room.
Yeah, I
you
mean,
could hear a pin drop.
how many thousand people are in that hall, and
Yeah.
and you could literally hear a pin drop. I mean, I literally cracked. I mean, I'm sure Clint did too. Cracked out laughing at home when that happened.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, that
it's-
about sums that up.
We've talked about it on the show before. It's like while the show has grown on me since its first debut, it's not in the same league as Happily Ever After as far as like hitting those emotional touchstones.
Yeah.
And
I think even in the it says right here, popular anthem happily in the this is from the press release. Popular anthem Happily Ever After will play again when an updated nighttime spectacular returns to light up the skies over Cinderella Castle in 2023. So that's the exact verbiage from the press release.
Yeah, I think the theme really is one of the best parts of that show, and I think as long as it's got a good coherent story like the previous show had, and you pick the right songs, which is another problem Enchantment had, is they did not pick the right songs.
Yeah.
It's going to be. I expect it's going to be good. They've got something to prove too after just Enchantment simply being a complete disappointment. I mean, to be honest, even more so than
the fact that
when we get to Harmonious
50th,
next.
Enchantment was made for the 50th, and
it was made for the 50th, but it had absolutely until recently nothing to do with the 50th. So
and yet out here everybody just clamors for our Disneyland 50th show because it was so fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, the last time I was at Disneyland, they did Remember Dreams Come True.
Because I'll be honest, I can't even tell you what the name of the current fireworks show at Disneyland is.
Wasn't it Mixie's Magical Mix
something? We usually watch the fireworks from Galaxy's Edge because it's like our favorite spot. There's no music, and you could just watch the fireworks.
You can just watch the fireworks. You don't need the music.
And
well, then they brought back Disneyland Forever this summer.
Oh, that's what it was. Disneyland Forever. Yeah, not a fan.
Greg's like, oh yeah.
That's the name of it.
All right, moving on to probably the biggest announcement of the parks panel.
Yeah.
Mr. Hatbox Ghost is coming to the Magic Kingdom's Haunted Mansion. I flipped out when this was announced, as you know. As you saw on Twitter, I've been waiting patiently for my Hatbox Ghost to come to Magic Kingdom Haunted Mansion, and he's coming. So
you won't be disappointed.
Oh my God! Like how many Disneylanders were so PO'd about this on
really?
Twitter?
I didn't see this.
Oh no! Some of them were like, "Oh my God, can we not just have the Hatbox Ghost to ourselves?" I literally saw some of these posts. I'm just like,
we have Haunted Mansion Holiday to ourselves.
Yeah, and I was like, well, fine, give us Haunted Mansion Holiday. I would love to have and then of course a bunch of them were like, oh, we wish we could get rid of it, and it's like, well then get rid of it and send it to Disney World because we would love to have it at Disney World because on top of that, we would love to have the TLC their mansion gets every year because of Haunted Mansion Holiday
twice a year.
It's like. I'm hoping the Hatbox, how long has it been, Clint? 10? Has it been 10 years since the last major refurb for Haunted Mansion?
Haunted Mansion? Yeah, because we got the queue extension with the new figures and stuff. I think that was the last thing they did, right?
And that was the last thing they did. But when they redid, they did the infinite staircase
with the staircase and the pictures at the beginning.
And did a brand new speakers, redid the scrims. We're due for. I'm hoping it'll go down for a little bit for this because. The scrims are starting to look a little the saggy in the graveyard, and so it's definitely has not gone down for I don't even think a couple of month rehab in a while. So
it needs it. And
I hope it gets we get a little TLC with this install for this, and they just don't do it like overnight.
Yeah. All right, moving on. We got an opening time frame. Tron Light Cycle Run will be opening spring 2023 at the Magic Kingdom.
You want to bet it's going to be? They're going to make us wait till May. I'd be willing to bet they're.
We have reservations in early May for our first return trip to Walt Disney World since 2007.
Oh, there you go.
We're doing our 2020 cruise. that we got canceled.
I mean, I think
So,
we might get
fingers crossed.
We might get a couple of months of cast member, annual pass holder, previews for this thing, because I mean, we all know for all intents and purposes this ride is done.
Yeah. And Josh wrote it. I mean, there was video of him writing it, and they showed at the panel.
So I fingers crossed the train reopens before the end of the year, because obviously that's gonna, that seems more like what's about to happen. We know the the Walt Disney World Railroad, the trains have been out testing again, and they're once they wrap up the tunnel and all that they can start running the train again. And I feel like they're just holding this for something after the 50th. I think that's what we're at this point now.
Yeah.
Is this ride has effectively been done.
Yeah.
I mean, and on the other hand, the good thing is we should have no hiccups. This thing should be running just like Cosmic Rewind. It should be running very smoothly.
Yeah.
Once it opens, and it's much needed capacity for Magic Kingdom having this, and especially once the railroad is reopened.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge for the Magic Kingdom. It's we've gone on countless times about how that park does not have as many attractions as it should have at this point. So we're excited.
Yeah, people give a lot of crap for Tron being, what it is, and a roller coaster in a box. But I'm a huge Tron fan. I'm super excited for it.
Will we get the hoodie? That's all I want to know.
Yeah, I need to get a new one, because I forgot who got me the one from Shanghai, and I forgot that Asian sizes run a little small, and it fits, but it's a little snug fitting.
Oh, I mean, it's like the one hoodie I was able to get at Tokyo Disneyland. Yes, I have to pull the sleeves up on it.
Yeah, exactly. So,
I mean, the only thing that I spent money on at D23 was a vinyl of the original Tron soundtrack. So yeah, I'm definitely ready.
Yeah. I'm excited for it. It should be a fun little ride. I'm excited. Hopping over to Epcot, we got the announcement that Figment is coming as a meet and greet of some sort. Again, we didn't get any pictures or video of what this is going to be. Is it going to be a life-size Figment? Is it going to be a puppet? There were no details announced. No, nothing.
I'm going to imagine it's either a puppet or it's a animatronic that will be able to react in real time. We'll have someone behind the scenes, doing the voice, and
they'll just put Figment's body on the trash can and they'll wheel it around.
Yeah, I mean, this is yay. Because I love Figment, but I think they would have been a bigger splash if they would have actually finally said, "Hey, we're going to redo the ride."
Yeah,
that sucks.
Yeah,
we're sorry we destroyed a classic masterpiece because we didn't want to pay for maintenance anymore.
Yeah.
So it's a step, and maybe it's a step if the meet and greet is very popular, it will show them, hey, we need to put money into this, and finally, do a new version of Imagination that will actually live up to the original. So
I mean, the Figment merchandise sales alone should show that Figment's a big deal.
No,
so,
I mean it's
yeah. So really quick, we'll get through this really quick. They announced that the completion of the World Celebration will be in late
2023.
Yeah, late 2023. The Journey of Water, Moana, inspired by Moana attraction, will also be in late 2023, which is interesting to me because it is literally a fancy splash pad.
I mean, we did see that there will be a figure of Tafiti. She'll be like 16, at least 16 feet
I think so, like
tall,
16 feet tall or something like that.
And I guess they're going to use some force perspective to make her look even bigger as you come upon her. I just want the walls. I mean, we just want the construction done.
We just want the construction done. Yeah.
Yeah, we just want to be done.
Back area in the park, there's still construction walls all the way around, and it's just like we're all on the same page. We just want this construction done. So all right, moving on. Greg, I'm gonna let you kind of chat about this because they actually did a cool little performance. Tiana's Bayou Adventure. We got some. I don't think we really got any new details about the ride.
I think the only thing was like I think I tweeted out a video on the Droge account. There was like some projection mapping going on like at night that looked really cool.
It looks really cool at night. They
Yeah.
did like the video that you were talking about, Greg, of how it faded from daytime to nighttime. It looks like it's going to be really cool at night.
And the model, and I was going to say too, the model isn't the model they showed. That's Disneyland's.
Yeah, it's Disneyland's. Yeah, everyone's like, "What's Disney World?" So I'm like, "No, it's single file."
No, that's Disneyland.
Disneyland.
Because our splash is there's some besides the different log. There are a few differences at our.
Yeah. But that video was pretty neat. I was like actually disappointed. I tweeted it from your account and not mine because I saw all the retweets it got. No, but it looked really cool. The model was really great. I actually posted a video today of just kind of the entire kind of going around the entire model.
Yeah.
But it looks really great. There's some really great little details. I tried to get in there pretty deep and pretty close. But yeah, it looks great. I'm actually really excited for this.
Yeah, I love the movie. I love Princess and the Frog. And then what's her name? The voice of Tiana, Anika
Noni
Rose. Yeah, she came out and did a little number. How was that? How was
it? Was great.
Live?
It was. I mean, it was
really cool.
It brought New Orleans Square to D23 basically. I mean, it's. I'm really hoping that they bring some of that kind of entertainment to both Disneyland and Disney World, even though you don't have your New Orleans Square area.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have a New Orleans themed ride, so I'm hoping we'll get some of that fun entertainment.
Well, all we've said is we better get a beignet stand out of this. It's like...
Yeah, because they announced that. I think it was the restaurant.
Yeah, there's a new. They didn't say where it was, but if you look at the art, it looks like the River Belle Terrace at Disneyland.
Yeah.
That is that. And then I would imagine that Critter Country is going to get renamed here at Disneyland too, just because it doesn't really make sense to call it Critter Country with, it'll be more of like a bayou thing. But then of course, what does that mean for Pooh? That doesn't really.
Y'all's Winnie the Pooh ride is like in the most out of place I've ever seen.
Really is, yeah.
River Belle seems to be the most.
It's like right on the border. It's like right on the border between Fantasyland. I mean, not Fantasyland, Frontierland, and New Orleans.
Yeah,
so
and for them
like
it feels like to change that over to Tiana's Palace. Going to
nice little transition there.
Yeah, require too much.
All right,
this was
Greg,
a shock.
I'm gonna let you kind of have the floor here with this one, Mr. Disneyland here. They announced that Pacific Wharf will be reimagined to San Francisco from Big Hero 6, and it'll feature a place to meet Baymax as well as new spots to eat and shop. What are your thoughts about this?
Love it. This where they have the little arches there. That's basically the bridge that's there now. It looks like the building there. That's where the bread factory is and the restaurant there. So it doesn't look like that's too different.
Yeah.
And then on the right side is where they have like the Mexican restaurant. So I'm assuming they'd probably move that somewhere else. But kind of behind that though, it's interesting because there's a parade warehouse back there that they're just using for storage now.
Yeah.
There's no parades at this DCA anymore, and there hasn't been for years. So it's almost kind of like, are you going to use that for something else? Maybe some kind of Big Hero 6 attraction at some point.
Yeah.
Or maybe they're going to use part of it. That's where like the meet and greet is or something. Maybe they'll kind of use part of it.
Yeah.
But there's definitely room, to expand that particular area into that, kind of the spot between Pixar Pier and Cars Land. There is a little bit of room there for something. If they want to do something. But I think this is going to be great. And if you've gone through into Cars Land from this section of the park, it's actually the best entrance for Cars Land.
Yes, it is.
So I really think that's going to hopefully enhance that a little bit more. And kind of make that more of a dynamic entrance because basically you have one side it's a wall and then you have the rock and then there's this huge vista of Radiator Springs. So
it's amazed me a lot the last time I was there. It's like how many people like don't go that way.
No,
and it's like the park was busy and Sin and I are just like walking through that from the Pacific Wharf to that way and it's just me and her. And it's like, why don't more people go this way? And it's like. And I think we're going to get a Baymax meet and greet, which I'm sure will be a cool little thing. It updates an area of DCA that really has no really didn't have much of a theme anymore to it.
No, yeah, I mean it's yeah, I know San Francisco kind of does still fit the California
Yeah.
theme, but
Yeah.
it's still another area that the original California that is no longer going to be there. Which I mean, again, I think I'm all for it. I love Big Hero 6, so definitely
Yeah,
excited
it was really
about this.
interesting. I love Big Hero 6 too. It was just really interesting to see them go with the Big Hero 6 team for this area. I mean, it makes sense. California, San Fran,
I mean,
San Francisco.
it's already San Francisco themed, so that
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
it's really not that big of a when I first saw this, I didn't realize what was still there, but after I kind of looked at the artwork,
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's really not that, and you can even see the building behind the arches there on the right. That's the Kachina Cucamonga, so I
Yeah.
don't know, so it's really that everything is really still there, even the little umbrellas for the tables, they're still there too. So I mean, really looking at this, it's really just the bridge and the lanterns and maybe
Yeah.
some of the writing and stuff.
Yeah.
And then hopefully we'll see where Baymax is going to go.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. We got the green man coming to Avengers Campus. They had Mr. Incredible Hulk in his Infinity suit come out on stage. Greg, how was it seeing this thing in person?
It was cool. I have to admit. The first thing I thought was, oh my gosh, we have Disneyland reservations next weekend because we'll be down for Scary Farm. Like we're going to see the Hulk. Like I'm not a big character person. I don't wait, and I'm like, we're waiting. We're gonna, because it's a limited time. I'm like, we are waiting.
Yeah,
to
they
see the
said
Hulk.
he's going to be out for a limited time, so he's not going to be a permanent meet and greet. But yeah, he looks cool. Obviously, this is based on that. What was the exoskeleton suit that they teased at the last D23 call? It was like the exoskeleton or something suit, and I think they teased like some Star Wars characters. But obviously, this is based on that. And my thing was, why his Infinity suit? And then I thought about it. And I was like, well, if they didn't put a helmet on him, they would have to articulate him and they'd have to make him talk. So why not just throw him in his Infinity suit and cover up his mouth?
And it's mouth, and it solves the neck issues too.
Yeah. So he looks cool. I'm gonna be excited to see him kind of hanging out with guests, and I don't know where in Avengers Campus could he be, Greg?
I mean, maybe where in front of the Quinjet is. That's usually where they kind of do some meet and greets there.
Yeah, that's true.
They have the Doctor Strange area. I don't think it really fits there. But then again, he had some interactions with Strange, so maybe there too.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see like how close he's allowed to come to the guests. I have a feeling a little bit of
they're gonna keep a
separation.
So keeping on the discussion of meet and greets, once again, we get the short end of the stick over here on the East Coast.
I will say when Jon Favreau came out, everyone just expected either a new attraction for Galaxy's Edge, or that they were just going to toss out the timeline, then have like all the characters in there. And when Mando first came out, I didn't have my glasses on, so it was very dark, and it almost looked like Darth Vader at first, and for like the first 2 seconds, I'm like, oh, they're gonna bring Darth Vader to Galaxy's Edge, and then I saw it was Mando. I'm like, okay, that's it was still really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, when you see Jon Favreau come out, you're really kind of expecting.
You're wondering what's going on.
Yeah. But I mean, it's really, really cool. I mean, I'm definitely excited to see Mando and Grogu at
it's interesting. Him in the pouch, Grogu in the pouch is something I definitely was not expecting, because some of the leaked stuff we've seen was Grogu was in his little pod,
right?
Yeah.
That's leaked online. So this sort of came out of I'm assuming the walk around Mando has probably some types of either he has some buttons he can push that makes Grogu do different things, or there'll be a tech nearby.
Yeah.
Who will?
I mean, who wants to see Mandalorian just pushing a stroller all around Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah,
that would actually be pretty funny.
that would.
So, all right, we're gonna plow through this really quick. Greg, if you want to chime in, your thoughts on Mickey and Minnie's Railway coming to Disneyland.
Looking forward to it. I can't wait.
Because you'll get a better version.
Little bit of a different. Yeah, there's a little bit of differences from what I'm hearing between the Disney World and Disneyland version. But yeah, and it's funny because overhearing people talking to the cast members at the display, everyone was, they was like, oh, does that mean Roger Rabbit's going away? And they're like, no, it's like in
No.
addition to, like for
Yeah.
once, they're not taking away, they're actually just adding something, and I'm thrilled that Roger Rabbit is still going to be there.
Yeah, and these are just some concept artwork pieces that they released
From the
of
queue.
Cute,
the
yeah.
queue from their version of Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah, they're getting an actual queue.
And then they released some more concept artwork of Mickey's Toontown, some of the improvements that they're doing throughout.
Yeah,
the
they really made a big deal of how, unlike previous iteration Toontown, all kids,
Yeah.
disabled, all kids will be able to interact
Which
with
is
things.
great. Yeah,
hence the picture of the girl in the wheelchair here in this piece of the
Yeah.
concept artwork, just making it more accessible.
I remember walking through the original Toontown before it opened. Actually, I was there for Magic Music Days. They actually walked us through Toontown under construction back in 19. But it was really cool.
When you were just a child.
Yes, when I was just
a wee little boy.
Yeah, I was like 3 years old now. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this update of Toontown, because honestly, I'll be honest, other than Roger Rabbit, we never went into Toontown ever.
Yeah, it's a much needed facelift for it.
No, I remember
Donald's-
the first time I got my I got my credit on Gadget's Go Coaster, and it's like
That's
I'm
about it.
done.
Yeah, pretty much.
And then I guess there were a lot of people nervous about Donald's boat not returning, but it is. And here's the concept artwork piece that they
I thought that was
released.
funny that like everyone's concerned about Donald. Like I haven't been
Yeah,
Donald's
I was
boat
like,
in 20 years.
Yeah, I was like, that's a thing. So, and then
At least nobody was clamoring for the return of the Chippendale slide. If you ever did that slide when it was there, it was
Chippendale
not.
slide.
It was
It
not
didn't.
it was not a pleasant experience.
What was it?
It was a
just like-
slide.
yeah.
And but there was like a acorn thing at the very bottom of the slide on the bottom part. It was not a pleasant experience.
Yeah, I see
Yeah.
where you're going.
It did not
Yes.
last. It did not last very long.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
So and then really quick, they touched on the Pixar Place Hotel, which is already well under construction.
Well under
Remodel.
remodeling.
Well under remodeling, I guess.
The fifth name for that hotel. Something
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
I think we should all be happy that it's not the Toy Story Hotel,
Right.
that it's Pixar. So it's
This
which
is a
makes more sense since it's supposed to tie in with Pixar Pier, because it
Yeah.
was Paradise Pier Hotel, and
Yeah.
it makes more sense to be in Pixar Place.
And I'll be honest, that hotel is actually my favorite hotel of the 3 Disneyland hotels, just because the rooms are bigger, because it's very, it's old. So
Yeah.
the rooms are bigger. I actually really like that hotel, to be honest with you. So I'm looking forward to this.
And then there were some, I don't have any slides in here, any details about it. There were some new Downtown Disney announcements for some restaurants and stuff like that.
Yeah, a new bakery. We're getting Portos. It's funny when they announced that a California favorite was coming to Downtown Disney. Everyone's like, "It's In and Out. It's In and Out." And then they said Portos, which was great too. But
Yeah.
I'm like, you can go 2 blocks away and get In and Out. So
yeah.
but no, and then obviously they gave away some pastries, which were rather tasty. Sorry, Clint, I'm not sending those to you like the other posters and pens we got. I'm sorry, the pastries are all gone.
I want the pastry. So, all right, moving
big
on.
one.
We got new details about the attraction coming to Avengers Campus. We got a villain, and that was about it. They didn't announce any new details, what kind of ride it's going to be, or anything like that. We did get confirmation from Disney that the ride will feature King Thanos, a multiverse variant designed specifically for Avengers Campus. And I guess guests will be dropped in an epic battle with him.
Yeah, I mean, basically they said that King Thanos is if Thanos had won.
Yeah.
That's the which is really cool. And it's funny because I've looked at the artwork, and it wasn't until right now that I'm looking at this kind of where the ride vehicle is. It almost looks like it could be a boat. I wonder if they're using like the Shanghai Pirates system.
I'm assuming it's motion based platform.
I'm sure it is, but if you look right in the front of the boat, it almost looks like a flume on the
I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
Like,
it
it's
almost
got the
kind of.
waves
I don't
look
know how
to
that
it,
would
yeah.
work with some kind of maybe the river of the multiverse or something.
I mean, the only thing I can assume compared to like the original Avengers, ride attraction, concept we saw, I gotta imagine this is gonna be heavily screen based.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I got very Spider-Man vibes from this.
it has a very scoop looking feel to the vehicle
that's
too.
kind of the vibe that I got from this.
I expect very, very screen heavy, hopefully with a mixture of sets.
Let's hope so.
Albeit, projection technology, we're up going past 8K now. I expect this will be, some of the, probably beyond Flight of Passage as far as the level of detail. I think if it's a screen base, if they can spend enough money and give us Marvel level theatrical special look to it, it would be one of the most impressive screen based.
I mean, just looking at this cast of characters just on on this artwork is pretty impressive too. I mean,
it's crazy.
Daredevil, Spider-Man, just and
it's going to be multiverse variants of them.
Moon Knight's
we got to assume that since Thanos won, that different versions of those characters got killed.
And you have to wonder, with the technology they have now, and they've been bringing in all these characters from all these Disney shows, maybe like, hey, we're the new season of whatever show, and oh, by the way, here's Hawkeye and in the ride like the next day,
little
that would
additions, updates to the ride.
That would be pretty cool, actually.
That would.
It would be cool. It would be cool if it actually you had variables that happen. Yeah. We have Star Tours, but like I would love to see maybe an attraction of this level, some variables of what it is, so it's not the same thing every time.
The same ride every time. That would be cool.
That's been sort of after we got over the initial wow of Flight of Passage, that was sort of like, well, why doesn't this not have different versions, different things that happen every time? Because you're just riding I thought we had gone beyond this.
I mean, the technology's there. I mean, they've been doing it since Indiana Jones out here. They've the different. It's supposed to be a different, slightly different each time.
Yeah. So and, they do it with Guardians and obviously
the best tower. No, just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, hey, we've had constant discussions that
I'm sure
Mission Breakout was better than what was the Tower of Terror that was there.
100%.
It was not a good Tower of Terror.
And Monsters kind of going off of the Monsters After Dark is even better than if you haven't done it. Monsters After Dark is just so fun.
Fingers crossed we'll be out there next year for Oogie Boogie Bash and all that, all the Disneyland Halloween stuff.
Yeah. All right, moving on. I believe next, we're going to be getting into the Disney 100 stuff that they announced for Walt Disney Animation's 100th anniversary. This one is going to be called Wondrous Journeys. It's going to be the new nighttime spectacular for Disneyland. Greg, any thoughts on this?
I mean, I already shared my thoughts on the current Disneyland Fireworks show, so very excited about this. I love that they're tying in all of the animation, all of the animated movies.
Yeah, and we're also getting a new world of color. They're getting a new world of color called World of Color 1. It says
such a weird name.
It'll celebrate. Yeah, it was an interesting
1.0, 1.2,
World of Color 1.0. Yeah.
Well, no, there's already been different versions of World of Color, so
it's kind of weird. But no, I mean, World of Color is a great show. So definitely excited for a new version of this.
It's one of my favorite nighttime shows.
Yeah. It says it's going to be World of Color like you've never seen it before, with an all-new inspiring story told through some of your favorite characters, which sounds like every Disney nighttime show.
and the only question is, will it also feature a whole new world like every other single nighttime spectacular?
Hey, Harmonious only has Arabian Nights in it.
Yeah.
0.1 for Harmonious.
Which we'll get to in a minute because that's not sticking around either. So stay tuned.
That was the shocking stuff.
And then really quick, Magic Happens will be returning spring 2023. Greg, any thoughts on that?
I mean, I never got to see it, so I'm actually I'm happy. It didn't run very long.
Yeah, it had a short run. Yeah, that's right.
So definitely excited, and I'm not a huge parade person, but I'll definitely be excited to see it.
No, I think people really liked it. The 2.5 weeks it ran. I think the interesting thing will be the music be updated, because I know there was some controversy over whatever the artist was that he had some issues.
Oh, I don't remember those.
You do? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's but I'm sure you guys are happy to get a full blown, hopefully full blown daytime parade back.
As I was just mentioning,
The shocker.
a brand new nighttime spectacular will be coming to the World Showcase Lagoon at Epcot in late 2023 as part of the Disney 100 celebration. Yeah, this was probably one of the bigger announcements.
It came out of left field.
Yeah,
Harmonious. You know, I've done a lot of digging since this announcement happened. Harmonious was supposed to run 10 to 15 years.
Yeah.
And you know, there's been a lot of talk in Disney Twitter about, you know, the surveys and the scores that you know, Enchantment and Harmonious, and they was like, oh, you know, Enchantment's so bad, Harmonious is not so bad. The thing with Harmonious though is the barges during the day has been a huge negative.
Yeah.
As far as surveys go, as far as it's been showing up,
that was a big discussion. Do you really think they're going to get rid of these barges?
From what I've
as much money as they've spent on these
barges? Number one, the barges have been, from what the digging I've done, they've been a maintenance nightmare.
Yeah.
But also the eyesore factor during the day has been they've just been getting, you know, hammered on surveys about just how ugly
I can't see the other side of World Showcase Lagoon.
It all looks. The other fact is this show has only a few good spots to watch this show.
Yeah.
You know, there's a spot I go to every single time to watch this show, and I don't tell anybody where this spot is because I don't want other people.
Barry, I'll be calling you before visiting me.
Coming to that spot because it's like one of the best spots to watch this show.
Yeah,
I like the show. This show has grown on me so much that I really, really love the show. And
you almost have to wonder if, like, maybe even like the Disney weddings are playing a factor in this, and people, you know, paying all this money for, you know, we have friends getting married at Epcot next August.
Yeah.
And you know, the amount of money that they're paying, and maybe they're, you know, losing some revenue on that because of the eyesores, you know. So I mean, could be a factor.
That could be a factor. I have heard there's going to be a lot of they would not have done this if they were also getting, if you go, all you got to do is look a lot of times with Epcot restaurants at night, the reservations, there's almost always reservations available, except for like Le Cellier, you know, some of the restaurants like Le Cellier, which is always hard to get into. Plenty of reservations. They've been getting hammered from the third parties on that, the lack of people staying.
Interesting.
You never really have a hard time finding a spot to watch the show.
Yeah, because I saw there was a big discussion. There was like a giant thread on Twitter, people going back and forth talking about if the barges were going to go, and I was like, that never crossed my mind for this new show.
From what it's just based on like from people I know who are in the know. There's a good chance the barges may be going away, and we may getting something. From what I heard, sightlines will not be a problem with this new show. Which makes me wonder, because Tokyo Disney Sea is debuting a new show, and if you notice, they have circular LED barges in that show that move around.
Yeah.
And then they also have a like tower part, like an LED tower, and that is a permanent structure in Mediterranean, the lagoon in Mediterranean Harbor. But I'm beginning to wonder, is that what they're going to use? Are they going to use those moving LED barges for this show?
Yeah.
Too. Because they can bring them out in the afternoon.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one thing. That's the one issue World Showcase Lagoon has, is because of that drawbridge.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they can only open that thing so many times a day and stop traffic. Whereas like one of the things the Imagineers were smart with Disney Sea is when they did not design Mediterranean Harbor, the backstage for the lagoon, you know, they built the walkway that you go up towards the volcano high enough that they didn't have to worry about, you know, bringing, because if you've seen the barges for the lagoon shows at Tokyo Disney Sea, they're huge, they're gigantic.
Yeah.
So that's the first thing I thought of when someone who I know is in the know mentioned that, hey, those barges may be going away.
That's interesting.
And then the other big thing we finally get the drones.
Yeah.
Which, you know, the biggest issue in the U.S. parks has been having the drones fly over guest areas.
Yeah.
Well, if you have them in on a barge,
send the barge out to the lagoon.
Send the barge into the lagoon. Then you can have the drone
from the barge.
come
Yeah.
up. Because I mean, we've talked countless times how much more amazing Harmonious would have been if, like, you know, Agrabah Castle, the Rose from Beauty and the Beast, if that had been drones instead of, like, you know, the laser projections trying to use the smoke.
Yeah.
How amazing would have that been for that show? So
yeah,
I give them credit for realizing that this platform may not have been the best thing. So it'll be interesting to see if all these things that people are talking about are actually going to come true, and they're actually going to spend the money to take out at least that center barge. Some form of that may stay. I think that thing really isn't as much of an eyesore during the day as those four taco barges are.
The tacos are tacos. Yeah, they're taco barges.
I mean, at least it lasted longer than Light Magic. So I mean, that's
and that's the thing. I think the show I think is connected with a lot of people, but there's a lot of people this show just doesn't connect to. It suffers. I think the biggest issue the show still has is like it's too slow in the beginning.
Yeah.
One thing you give Illuminations is, boy, when that fireworks shot across and then the Inferno barge goes off, I can
still feel the heat, and I haven't seen it in 15 years.
It has a beginning. They really got into it the same way with Enchantment, these slow beginnings to these shows, and it's like, no, you got to wow people right off the bat, especially with Epcot, with a lagoon show.
Yeah.
When you have, you know, all these people encircling this giant lagoon, you've got to be able to get their attention real quick. And unfortunately, that's the one I think flaw Harmonious has had from the beginning, is like it's just too slow of a beginning. I mean, to this day, I love the show,
interesting.
And I will miss it, especially the finale. The someday when those lagoon mortars are going off is hands down one of the coolest things I've ever seen at a nighttime show in Epcot.
Yeah, that part's really cool.
Whatever we're getting, I've heard there's going to be a lot of new tech. So
interesting. Yeah, that was more of a conversational piece than I thought. Yeah, no, it's interesting that what they're going to be doing with Harmonious and the barges and everything. With
fingers crossed, they spend the money. I think they've realized they've got to spend the money because they've got to get, you know, those sales up in food and beverage at night at Epcot, and that's been one of the biggest money makers at that park for years. Epcot. It's a reason why Illuminations went away, because people weren't staying anymore.
Yeah.
You know, and it's one of the problems Magic Kingdom has is everybody leaving after the fireworks now because there's no nighttime parade.
Yeah.
And it's probably why Magic Kingdom rarely stays open to midnight anymore, because you have no reason to keep people there. And, you know, that was one thing we were hoping we would get surprised with, is finally announcing something nighttime parade coming to the Magic Kingdom. But it's like they still don't want to seem to pull that trigger.
Yeah.
For a nighttime parade at Magic Kingdom.
So, all right, moving on. Really quick, Hong Kong Disneyland will be getting a Mickey Mouse and Walt Disney statue as part of the Disney 100 celebration. So there it is for those of you watching. Walt
looks better than the Epcot one.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah, it does. I agree there, 100%. The Epcot statue, he's just in a weird pose, like he's leaning forward and he's just kind of.
I mean, he's supposed to be thinking, dreaming, or something. I hope whatever pedestal they put him on, they find something that will not
resemble a toilet.
Not resemble a toilet, like he's sitting on the toilet. It's bad to say, but come on. We all thought
everybody thought the same thing. I think
like
I even created a Photoshop of him like holding a cell phone on the toilet.
So bad.
No, I mean it's.
Somebody photoshopped this Hong Kong one with a cigarette in his fingers, with the two fingers.
Right there.
It's Walt.
It's Walt. He would have a cigarette. I mean,
yeah.
No, I mean it's we are all old enough to know that Walt was not this perfect person, but good Lord, the man, I sit there. I remember in college, I wrote a paper how the fact, like, if Snow White and the Seven Dwarves was not a success, our entire world would look different than it is
Absolutely.
now.
Yeah.
Like, especially when it comes to entertainment, our entire world would have looked different.
100%.
There would be no thing. I mean, theme parks might have happened eventually, but not the way they are.
Amusement parks were already things, so I think we would have more amusement parks.
Yeah.
You'd have your, traditional.
But without Disneyland,
No.
we would not have gotten Six Flags. We would have not gotten Kings Island and then Busch Gardens and all that. All those things that happen. Our entire world of entertainment and travel would have been completely different.
Not just that, but just the innovations that you watch, like the Imagineering story, and just the innovations of the tubular roller coaster. I mean, there you go, right there.
Yep.
So yeah,
I mean,
to
if
your
you're a roller
point.
coaster fan, it was always Clint knows this as a coaster enthusiast. A lot of coaster enthusiasts aren't Disney fans.
Exactly, which
But
doesn't
it's
make any
like,
sense.
but it's like, if the Matterhorn didn't happen, you would not have the modern steel tubular coaster.
Exactly.
So it's like,
yeah. I mean, it probably maybe would have had it
would have happened eventually.
but
not.
In a nutshell, the stuff that Disney came up with and pushed to develop these attractions, they wouldn't be here without Walt Disney. So,
Yep.
it's cool to see to get these little statues and
No, I love them.
this sort of
I think
thing.
great.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right.
We haven't gotten to
Wrapping
this.
We saved the best for last, as they did last night, or yesterday, I should say, during this panel. They wrapped up the D23 Parks panel with a blue sky mishmash of
Making
Greg, you were there. I'm
world
going to let you
It's-
kind of explain the vibe of what was going on with these announcements.
They
with
had
these teases.
they had everybody in the palm of their hand.
Yeah.
Like when he started talking about these little, Encanto and Coco and villains. Like everybody was like, "Oh my God, it's happening!"
Speechless, yeah.
And then you just like slowly, like you could feel like you have a balloon and you're slowly letting the air out. Everyone started realizing, like, it's like everyone started realizing, oh, they're not actually announcing anything.
This isn't an actual
This isn't an announcement.
Tease.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was bizarre to be honest with you. It was bizarre in the room where everyone's kind of like, and I'm sitting in the media section.
Yeah.
And everyone's live tweeting and doing their thing, and you could kind of see like, I don't know what to tweet. I don't know what to say. Like
that was
like,
him. Like, how do I title this
like,
article?
what-
In our
like,
little,
yeah,
have a little group
like,
chat with just
yeah.
Barry, myself, and Emily, and I was like, when I was doing the article, I was like, what do I title
Well, even
the
like I think the
article?
tweet I sent out, I said they're talking about something, but not an announcement,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
very blue sky. It almost seemed like they had something that they wanted to announce, and for some reason at the last minute they pulled it, and they had to do something.
They had
to fill
come up
the
with
hour and a half.
something, yeah,
Which we
so-
know has happened in the past.
Yeah, and honestly, I would have much preferred them to say, Josh come out and say, okay, you know what, we had something big to announce. It's not quite ready.
Yeah, just
Here's-
be honest.
Just
Here's
be honest about it.
concept artwork.
Yeah, here's some cool stuff that you did. That's probably maybe not going to happen, but here's
Yeah.
I would have had way more respect. Like, and I think everybody in the room would have probably appreciated that a little bit more
Yeah,
too, because
sure.
the way that it happened, it seemed like it was an announcement.
Yeah,
And
the
if
way they started, like you said, it started off as this is happening.
Yeah.
And then it
Like it was Zootopia for
went-
Animal Kingdom. Like everyone was like, "Oh my God, Dinoland USA, Zootopia, yes, finally they're
and then
announcing
they also
this."
teased Moana
Yeah.
for Animal Kingdom, and
Which
it
was weird because
which was
Moana's
weird.
already going in Epcot. Like that was kind of what everyone was looking at. Like,
I was like, Raya and the Last Dragon are
Well-
right there.
yeah,
What? I mean, we all know something's going to happen to Dino Land.
yeah.
It's
Well, clearly
it's,
something. I mean, they announced it, Barry.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, I mean, it's just we've known this has been coming. That's not. It's been like the worst kept secret that they're going
Yeah.
to do something about Dino Land.
Yeah.
I love some people brought up that if they got rid of all of it, that then they're basically giving Universal dinosaurs, period, to themselves. And
Yeah.
Dinoland is the reason Dinoland is there is dinosaurs are popular.
Yeah, sure.
Especially with young boys. Dinosaurs are very popular. And I mean, I'm all for you know, we know they're going to shoehorn more IP into Animal Kingdom. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
You know, Zootopia, there had been talk about putting that with Conservation Station, of, you know, turning the train into look more like the one from the movie.
The Zootopia train.
Sort of what they talked about. It sounded more like going where Conservation Station is than Dino Land. You know, we know something's coming. Everyone knows Clint and I are just like, just turn it into South America and turn dinosaur into Indiana Jones.
Yeah. Just like Indiana Jones, I'd be happy.
It's like you just got to bring you just bring the version from Tokyo over here. Yeah, it's like we'll be perfectly happy with that.
And then they had but wait, there's more.
Oh yeah,
nothing.
Moment. And then they got into this whole Magic Kingdom.
Beyond Big Thunder.
Beyond Big Thunder Mountain, which was...
Windermere is beyond Big Thunder Mountain.
Yeah. What's beyond Big Thunder Mountain? Could it be Encanto? Could it be Coco?
Could it be villains?
It be Disney villains?
I will tell you, the idea of a Coco Land literally makes Sin cry. Like I if that ever got built, the moment she would walk into that village, just tears streaming down her face. It would be amazing. Listen, we talked about it a little bit earlier. Magic Kingdom has been beyond overdue for a major expansion. Sure. It simply cannot handle. It can barely handle the crowds it gets now. And no matter what they build in the other parks, in Epcot, in Hollywood Studios, in Animal Kingdom, it just does not draw people away from Magic Kingdom, and it won't ever. No different than with Disneyland and DCA.
Yep.
You know, I mean, it's like we are always in awe here in Florida, because you look at the amount of attractions DCA and Disneyland have, and it's almost as many as all four parks here.
Yeah.
And you know, even if one of these lands gets built, it would be gigantic and huge for the Magic Kingdom.
Yeah.
Sure. It just, you know, it's that park, you know, canceling that when they canceled that Main Street Theater, that was a huge big deal, because that would have added, you know, 5 shows a day in that theater would have added so much more capacity to that park. And it needs it. Beyond needs more attractions. You know, Tron opening and the railroad reopening are going to be huge. But even if one of these lands happened, it would be a huge deal for that park of just adding capacity. And it's funny because no one's talked about Behind Big Thunder Mountain before. We've always talked about Behind Pirates is an expansion pad. Yeah. That's been there for years. And there was Fire Mountain at one point was talked about. Which was a villains concept. And like I said, one of the concepts is villains, which God knows we've all wanted for years. A villains land attraction, whatever.
Yeah.
You know, a villains multiverse. I mean, you know, and much like Fantasmic, a bunch of the villains coming together.
Yeah.
And,
yeah.
You almost have to wonder if, you know, they're kind of seeing that, you know, Universal's building their you know, Universal Monsters area, that, you know, hey, wait, maybe there is a market here for this kind of thing.
They're very much a market. Just look at the merchandise alone.
Oh yeah.
Especially,
I mean, look at how quickly all the Halloween parties sell out. I mean,
yeah. I think the horror thing has kind of come to a lot of the theme parks' attention, because people love, you know, spooky stuff. You know, just look at Haunted Mansion. Look how popular Haunted Mansion is. You know, everybody's talking about the supposed Monsters expansion or the addition to Epic Universe. You know, people like spooky stuff. So
yeah. I mean, and just, I mean, that, and we talk about, you know, just how you know, the idea of a Coco Land, how popular Coco has become, like with everyone. It's like if you watch Harmonious, the Coco segment, I mean, as soon as that segment starts, I mean, the crowd actually most times starts cheering.
Yeah.
They
Same with even PhilharMagic here. Even though we have a very lesser version of PhilharMagic, when that Coco scene comes on, everyone just is so happy about it.
It's that movie has become a life of its own. I think it's usually one of the top most watched films on Disney Plus.
Yeah,
on a regular basis. Encanto. Who would you have said? Would you have ever guessed that a movie that only made $100 million in the U.S. box office would even be consideration for a land? But that's another example of like once it was on Disney Plus,
took
thing
off.
blew up,
took off, yep.
and it's become a worldwide phenomenon now. And that's how things have changed somewhat. That's my one worry about the animation side going forward is like how well are they going to do at the box office?
Yeah.
And we're gonna see. Lightyear did not do well, and but now we've got a bunch of original movies coming down the pike, and we'll see how well they do. But like I said, if one of these gets built, I will be amazed and astounded. But Magic Kingdom's got a lot of land that can be used for new attractions, new lands. And
I jumped on Google Maps because the whole Beyond Thunder Mountain thing had me curious, and I looked, and there's literally the whole curve of land from the back of Thunder Mountain all the way over by Haunted Mansion. There's like a whole curve of land that they could.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
even discussion of them getting rid of Tom Sawyer Island, just getting rid of it.
That's been on and off for years.
Yeah. Who knows? Where they were going with this, because clearly they didn't.
I would hate to ever lose the rivers of America.
I could care less about Tom Sawyer's Island, but I would hate to lose the boat. That would be
we don't have the activity that Disneyland's does.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, because
I don't even think I've taken my own kids to Tom
Sawyer.
Sawyer.
We got rid of we've gotten rid of the canoes, and then we got rid of the keel boats, so we just have the river boat.
I'm still shocked that Disneyland still has the canoes, to be honest with you, especially here in California with lawsuits, and then of course the keel boats. We had how many sinkings of the keel boat?
Yeah,
before they finally killed it.
You also have the Columbia.
Yeah, we have the two boats. Yeah,
so
two ships. Excuse me.
So I'll be like interested to see. I feel like,
I'd be stoked if it does happen. I think these are great. They're great. They're great in concept. I think the announcement was it was not an announcement.
Yeah, it was. It was weird. It was very, very weird. And like you said, I would have much rather Josh come out and say, "Listen, we're early in the stages of have something locked in." These teases were just like, I don't know. It was,
if any of this was to happen, it would be 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, if he had just come and say, we had something we wanted to announce, we can't, we're going to hold off a little bit.
Yeah, like some of the parks have done before. It's early development. Here's some concept artwork.
Yeah, but again, it almost seemed, like I said, it seemed like they just needed a filler 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, it's not just that. It's like, oh well. We've shafted Walt Disney World once again. Let's tease them with something that may or may not happen.
Yeah.
Even though, because we've had so much that's been announced at the last D23 that Main Street Theater gone, and still nothing about the Play Pavilion. We do know there's work going on inside the pavilion, but what we hear, it might be.
That was the big thing is, were they just playing it really, really safe with this stuff instead of
going
all crazy like they did last D23? They were playing it safe this year.
Because really, outside of the Magic Happens returning the two new nighttime shows at Disneyland, and then of course a new show at Epcot. Not much was. We thought we were going to hear a lot more about the Disney 100 celebration. So I'm assuming January, February, springtime, we may get some other sort of media thing.
I don't know if you know, Barry, but we had a 50th anniversary that they got to wrap up first before they start talking about this.
Yeah,
stuff, okay?
the all important 50th anniversary.
Did you know we had a 50th going on?
I know every time I go to Epcot at night and see the best thing that came out of the 50th. That's
So, all right.
Yeah, we could do an entire show about our disappointments with the 50th.
So, Greg, thank you for hanging out with us. I know we turned on here for an hour and a half, but we had a lot to go over. So
that was very fun. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you. It was good. We had good conversation about stuff. So I appreciate you hopping on and chatting with us. Let us know really quick where everybody can find Park Journey, yourself, whatever you want to plug, shout out before we get on out of here.
Parkjourney.com and at park_journey on Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, be sure to follow them. He does lots of stuff over there in California. He was just at HHN posting HHN stuff.
Yeah, I've been working on our update all day, so.
Yeah, he does articles and updates and guides. So be sure to check out parkjourney.com.
Yeah, it looks like this year is the year to go to HHN Hollywood.
It's a really good year for HHN Hollywood. We did get a little bit of that Florida humidity last night. It was we had friends there that were from Florida, and they're like, "This is nothing." And I will say they were like, "This is not." Yeah, but they did have the queue for Halloween in the basement of one of the parking structures, and it about killed us. It was bad.
Baking like an oven.
Yeah, it was so bad. We're just not used to it. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. We're going to Florida next month. I'm like, okay, I'm ready. You can stop with the humidity now. I get it.
Yeah,
but
you guys have been baking over there in California. The heat wave.
Ever since I got back from Toronto, it's just been
brutal. Yeah,
brutal. Yeah. So it's supposed to cool down this week. So
I know. I thought it was bad last time I was out there, and it was like 100 when we were at Disneyland, and then I see it's like
it's like 107 like a week ago, and like nope, no fun.
Yeah.
No bueno. So cool. Yeah, no, thank you, Greg.
Thanks, guys.
We really appreciate you hanging out with us and chatting all the D23 goodies. And Barry, tell everybody where you can follow us and all that jazz.
We are at Thrill Geek on Twitter, Instagram, and the TikTok, facebook.com/Thrill Geek. Please like and follow our Facebook page. YouTube.com/Thrill Geek. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. We now have a part 2 of Clint and I's HHN opening night RIP tour. So you can finally see the finale of us doing our little marathon there from Halloween Horror Nights opening night. And we will have some Hallow Scream houses coming soon to the YouTube channel. Nice. ThrillGeek.com for the latest in theme park and pop culture news. And of course, you're watching Thrill Geek this week. And I believe maybe next week we'll be talking Hallow Scream Orlando and Tampa.
Yeah, I know we had some media events we've been to with other haunted attractions, but I kind of wanted to make this stream just 100% 23 since there was so much.
We had plenty to talk about, and there's stuff we didn't even touch on. There's a bunch of Disney Plus stuff we didn't even get to. So
yeah, so we'll play catch up here over the next several weeks and get caught up on all that stuff, and. Yeah, so anyways, thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate you guys, as always. We will be back next week, same time, same place, right here on the YouTube channel, Twitch channel, twitch.tv/ThrillGeek. If you're watching on the Twitch channel, we appreciate it. And the YouTube, there we go. Yeah, just make sure you're following us everywhere, everything Barry just said. And we appreciate you guys, and we will see you next week. Take care.
Be safe. See you in the fog.